I love the fall because the shapes and colors of the leaves are so beautiful. For this project, I used a pencil, a piece of paper, some actual leaves, and a watercolor set. I found some interesting leaves in my neighborhood, and I put them on my paper and carefully traced them. Don't worry if the leaves are wiggling or moving around while you're drawing. Leaves are a very organic shape and they don't follow set rules, so there's no wrong way to draw a leaf. Do your best, and after you're done, when you lift the leaf up, you can kind of connect the edges that maybe you missed and see how it looks. This is an example of a contour line drawing. The line is following the shapes or edges of the object. I picked two different leaf shapes to make my drawing more interesting. I'm tracing more lines to add to the large areas that are empty so that I have an interesting composition. My drawing is starting to get very complex. In several places, different leaf drawings are overlapping and creating new shapes. When I decide I have enough lines to make an interesting design, I stop and I outline all the lines carefully with a Sharpie. Now I'm going to finally add color with my watercolor set. I like to start with yellow. It's the lightest color and it gets dirty really easily, so it's a good color to start with. As I'm painting, notice how I'm using my brush. I'm keeping the tip together. I can use that fine tip so that I can get the paint into those areas where I want the paint to go. Sometimes as I'm painting, I'm using mostly water. Then I can go back and grab some paint and add those colors into that wet area and make it darker. This also makes it really easy to blend colors, but you always want to start with a lighter color first. Remember, rinse your brush every time you're changing colors. As I paint these leaves purple, you can see how I can change the value. I started with purple paint, and then I slowly added water, and I'm pulling that color down with the leaves so it gets lighter and lighter. I can always go back and add more paint to these spots while they're wet to make them darker. If I make something too dark, I can just take a tissue and go back in and lighten the color by lifting some of the water away. You have to decide as you're painting whether or not you want your colors to mix. If a wet space touches another wet space, the colors will run together. This can look really pretty and make surprising things sometimes, but if you want your colors to be bright and stay separate, then you don't want your brush to touch while you're painting another spot that's still wet. Notice how the tip of my brush is still pointed. The bristles are all together. That's because I've been painting with the tip of my brush. For my finishing touch, I used an old toothbrush. I repeat, an old toothbrush that no one is using, to add a few splatters. Watercolors can be really challenging, so go slow, take your time, and have fun with this one.